For more than 60 years, Hollywood has been chasing what Bewitched had. Bigger stars, bigger budgets, better effects. Yet somehow, every attempt feels like a copy of something it never truly understood.
The humble worker in the vineyard of heaven. As I see it.
I thought I knew what that missing piece was. Most people think they do, but every answer I found only led to a bigger mystery, until one tiny detail hit.
I've never quite, I suppose typecasting is something that really, you think a certain type of actress for a certain type of part. I don't really think you're...
Hidden inside the show's most famous moment completely changed the way I saw Bewitched.
He was a lovely man. Everyone on the set is lovely. I really believe that. They know they could have a pink slip the next day. They know we're all standing in line for work.
And once you see it, you'll realize it wasn't just something Bewitched had, it was something television quietly lost forever. The show everyone remembers, but almost nobody understands. First surprise, Bewitched wasn't a slow burn cult hit.
Mother, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? What are you doing here? I'm married. I know.
In its very first season, it finished as the #2 show in all of America. It stayed top 10 for 3 straight years. So, it survived because it was a giant. Simple. Watch that fall apart. The shows that outrated it, the #1s, most people can't name a single one today. Being huge in 1965 guaranteed nothing. And here's the smaller thing. Dozens of sitcoms launched that same year, same studios, same budgets. Name one. You can't. They aired, they were loved, they evaporated.
Now, I am a witch. A real, house-haunting, broom-riding, cauldron-stirring witch.
That's what television is built to do. So Bewitched didn't just get watched, it got kept. And the gap between a show people watched and a show people kept, that's our mystery. But now let me argue against my own video, because I have to be honest with you, maybe there's nothing hidden here at all. The people who made it never claimed they were building something deep. They called it a sitcom. A witch, a husband, a nosy neighbor, a few laughs. Maybe we're a bunch of grown adults reading poetry into a show that just wanted to sell soap on a Thursday night.
You're a witch!
That's what I've been trying to tell you.
I want you to hold that doubt the entire time you watch this, because I'm going to keep handing you evidence, and you're going to keep deciding whether I'm finding something real or inventing it. I won't tell you which yet. That's the point. The biggest lie about Bewitched. Ask anyone why it worked. One word: magic. And you know what? Let me sell you the magic. Honestly. The magic is the engine, infinite stories, charming effects, the most famous gesture in TV history. If you wanted to design a show that runs forever, give the housewife unlimited power is genius.
Now don't tell me you haven't finished, Samantha. Oh, I had the wrong slant, Mother. I'm starting again.
Sit with that for a second. It really does feel like the answer. The magic theory is good. Now watch it break. Your scene. Season 1, A is for Aardvark. Darrin is handed real power, anything he wants, just by asking. Paradise. And what does he do? He sinks into a chair. He stops working. He gets smaller, quieter, miserable, and hands the power back. Because the things he wants only mean something if he earned them. That is not a show in love with magic.
I didn't believe it until she started moving things around.
Marriage is a partnership where two people side by side face life's obstacles together.
And here's the smaller discovery underneath it. Go verify it yourself. Count how the episodes actually end. Not with a spell, with a conversation, an apology, someone choosing patience. The magic lights the fire, a human decision puts it out, nearly every time. So the magic was the trouble, not the treasure. But, and I'm going to complicate my own point on purpose.
Just like everybody else. And then my mother can come and visit for a while and... Oh, well...
If that's true, explain something to me. If this show was secretly suspicious of magic, why did millions tune in for the magic? Why is the one thing the whole world remembers a magic gesture?
pity. Won't you come in and meet my friend?
If magic was the villain, why is it the only thing we kept? I'm not going to answer that yet. Sit in it. It matters more than you think, and we won't come back to it for a while. The character everyone misunderstood. The most disliked man in classic television. Darrin Stephens, the Square, the Killjoy. Even some viewers at the time complained he was a whiner, always telling Samantha what not to do. Let me make their case first. Maybe Darrin really is just an obstacle, a narrative speed bump whose only job is to say, no magic, so there's a plot. Maybe the audience tuned in hoping he'd lose. Honestly, for a lot of episodes, that reading holds up. Now go to the pilot, their wedding night.
Haven't we met somewhere before?
No, I don't think
Newport.
No.
The Riviera.
No.
Speaking of traveling, remember, Darrin, that time we met in Paris?
Samantha tells him the truth. She's a witch. Watch his face. He doesn't rage, he doesn't run. A man who just married the love of his life learns the ground beneath the marriage is something he can't touch, and what he asks for, quietly, is an ordinary life. Here's the reframe almost everyone misses. Darrin isn't against magic, he's against unearned things. Not the house a spell conjured, the one he paid for. Not the promotion magic arranged, the one he stayed late to deserve. And the smaller discovery, the actor chose to play it that way. Dick York could have made Darrin angry, threatened, small. Instead, he played worry, love that's a little overwhelmed.
Oh, Darrin, do you remember that delightful time we had with the Comtesse at Maxine? I won't. But anyway, last I heard, they were involved in the most delicious scandal. Maybe I will.
He turned a character the scripts could have made hateful into the conscience of the house, which makes what happened to him almost unbearable, because the man playing the heart of this show was, every single day, in pain you could not see. And one ordinary morning at the studio, it was going to bring everything down.
Durwood needs no criticism from me. What's wrong with him is for the whole world to see.
The television experiment nobody planned. Slow down with me. Before any of this, Dick York is shooting a Western. They came to Cordura, opposite Gary Cooper. Last shot of the second to last day. They're pumping a railroad handcar loaded with wounded men. The director calls cut. Everyone lets go of the handle except York. In that instant, another man's full weight, around 180 pounds, drops onto him. The muscles down the right side of his back tear loose. He's young. He thinks he's bulletproof.
You see, everything's just fine.
You know, your mother had some cockeyed notion that things weren't going so well between you and Sam.
Darrin, are you sure?
He never gets it properly treated. It never heals. The discs in his spine slowly collapse. He grows hunched. He loses inches of height. He leans on painkillers just to get through a day. Now put him on one of the most beloved sets in America. The crew loves him. They quietly build him a slanted board to lean on between takes to rest his spine. And every time Samantha twitches her nose, the script might need Darrin hanging from a tree or hoisted up on a platform.
I'm having one of my sick headaches.
He does it in agony, take after take, smiling. Deep into the 5th season, up on scaffolding for an effect shot, feverish and sick, his body stops. He collapses. He passes out. He's rushed to the hospital. William Asher, the producer, the director, comes to see him there, ready, reluctantly, to let him go. He doesn't have to. York speaks first. He says he wants to quit.
Oh, she really loves her daddy, doesn't she? Oh, she certainly does.
If it's all right with you, Billy, he didn't want hundreds of crew members to lose their jobs over his back. He left. He never really worked again. For a stretch of his life, he was cleaning toilets to get by, a man who'd starred in one of the biggest shows in television history. And from his bed, dying, breathing through an oxygen tank, he ran a charity for the homeless off his telephone. Near the end, he said he'd been blessed, that he had no complaints. Now, the show.
What are you doing here?
Well, how should I know? You thought about us, and here we are.
You mean all I had to do was think about you?
The husband is gone, the moral anchor, the face in a million living rooms. So they recast Darrin with a different man, and barely mention it. No goodbye, no explanation. A stranger walks through the front door of 1164 Morning Glory Circle as if nothing happened. Every law of television says the audience leaves. They didn't. And I could tell you right now why they stayed. I'm not going to, because we'd be wrong. The easy answer here is wrong, and so is the second one. All I'll say is this: whatever the real star of this show was, it was not a person.
Do that often?
He's crazy about me.
We just proved a man could be swapped out and the magic held. We're going to guess what it was twice more before we get it right. Remember that. The character who quietly explained the entire show. Breathe. Let's laugh for a second because this show was funny.
Nope, can't. I'm writing a play. Just started 4 hours ago. Oh, really?
And Dora, Samantha's mother, couldn't be bothered to say her son-in-law's name correctly for 8 years. Darwin, Dum-Dum, Durwood. And down the street, poor Gladys Kravitz, the neighbor who saw every impossible thing that ever happened and could never, ever get anyone to believe her. And Aunt Clara, who tried so hard and whose spells went wrong every single time. The show was stacked with people getting magic wrong. Keep Gladys in your back pocket, by the way. The one person who keeps seeing the truth and getting dismissed. She matters later. Now, Endora. Everyone files her under villain. Let me defend that. She schemes, she curses, she torments Darrin. Classic antagonist. Easy. But listen to what she actually offers. Every entrance, the same pitch. Why suffer the bills, the boss, the dull little disappointments of a mortal life when you could snap your fingers and have everything? Power without patience. Results without work. You're too good for the hard way. Here's a piece of real evidence that should stop you. In February 1964, before this show even aired, Betty Friedan published a 2-part essay in TV Guide attacking television for portraying women as bored, insecure household drudges. And what does Endora do week after week? She mocks exactly that, the drudgery of housewife life, to lure her daughter out of it. The show put the most famous feminist critique of its moment into the mouth of the witch. That is not an accident. So maybe Endora isn't the villain. Maybe she's the test, temptation in a glittering wardrobe. And here's where I have to argue with myself again. If that's true, if every week is a little morality test, why doesn't the show feel preachy? Why does it feel warm instead of like a lecture? A show that's secretly moralizing at you should be exhausting. This one isn't. I don't have that answer for you yet either. The pile of unanswered questions is getting taller. Good. Hold them. Samantha's most important decision. You remember the twitch. It rewrote our memory of the show. We picture Samantha doing magic constantly. Most of us remembered the wrong thing. Let me show you, not tell you. Watch. Here's a scene where she could fix the whole problem with one flick, and she doesn't. Here's another. She lets the misunderstanding play out the slow, human way.
I love it. I think it is probably the most terrifying medium in the world. I can't tell you how often when they say 30 seconds.
And here's a third. The dinner's a disaster. The power's right there, and her hands stay in her lap. 3 times. One show. The most powerful person in any room choosing not to be. Now the narration can tell you what you just saw. Her real power was never the magic. It was restraint, the discipline of holding enormous power and deciding again and again not to use it. For her marriage, for her husband's dignity, for an ordinary life she actually wanted. And the smaller discovery, notice it's the same shape as Darrin.
Dear, I'm going to have a very serious talk with your grandmother.
Come now, Samantha. One more word about that dreadful lady and I'll have to go.
He won't take unearned things. She won't take the easy way. 2 people, 1 quiet rule. So we've collected the pieces. A show suspicious of shortcuts. A husband defending earned things. A mother selling temptation. A wife whose power is saying no to power. You can feel the answer now, can't you? It's right there. Except you're about to be wrong about the most famous thing in the entire show. Remember the image I promised you in the very first minute? The one you've never actually seen? It's time. The interruption. The image you've never actually seen. Stop everything. Forget the argument for 2 minutes. We're going somewhere fun. The nose twitch, the single most famous gesture in television history. Time magazine put it on the page in 1964 with the headline, "The Girl with the Necromantic Nose." It's the thing the whole world kept. It is, supposedly, the magic. Here's the first surprise. It isn't her nose. Look closely at any episode. Her nose barely moves. What's actually happening is a fast little twitch of her upper lip. The camera was sped up a touch to sharpen it, and that shimmering little sound was a xylophone, dubbed in afterward. The most magical gesture in television was a lip muscle, a film trick, and a percussion instrument. Her own daughter on the show, the actress who played Tabitha, later just called it a camera trick. But here's the real surprise. Where did it come from? Not from an actress inventing a spell. It came from a private nervous habit. When Elizabeth Montgomery got frustrated or anxious in real life, her upper lip would do this involuntary little twitch, and her husband, William Asher, who happened to be directing the show, noticed it. The story goes that the night before they rehearsed the pilot, he pointed at her and said, in effect, "That's it, that thing you do with your nose." She didn't even know what he meant. He'd been watching the woman he loved off camera and quietly turned her real nervous tic into Samantha's magic. Now go back to the question I refused to answer 4 chapters ago. Why is the magic gesture the one thing we all kept if the show was secretly suspicious of magic? Here's why. Because it was never really magic. It was the realest, most human, most intimate thing in the whole series. A true detail about a real person, noticed by someone who loved her, wearing a costume of magic. And that is the key I promised you. Because if the most magical thing in Bewitched turns out to be something real and human in disguise, then maybe the whole show is. Which finally lets us answer the question we've been carrying since the very beginning, but not in the way you think. The real thing behind the fake one. Remember, we proved a man could be swapped out and the show held. So the real star wasn't a person. Then what was it? Here's the answer we kept deferring. The man directing many of these episodes was married in real life to the woman playing Samantha. William Asher, who learned his craft directing I Love Lucy, went home every night to Elizabeth Montgomery. Let me push back on my own reveal. Surely chemistry can just be acted. Good actors fake warmth for a living. True. But watch the scenes nobody quotes. The breakfast table, the doorway goodbyes, the quiet mornings, and notice what happens in them. Nothing. No spell, no crisis, no punchline every 4 seconds. 2 people in a kitchen being 2 people in a kitchen. That nothing was the product. And it carried a warmth that's very hard to manufacture because a real marriage was helping to shape it from both sides of the camera. And here's the smaller discovery that turns it into a quiet heartbreak. People close to the production said it plainly. The show lasted as long as their marriage. When the marriage came apart in the 8th season, the show ended with it. The network wanted more. Montgomery said no. The warmth on screen and the marriage behind the camera were, in the end, the same thing, and they died together. That's the real star. Not Samantha, not Darrin. A feeling that was partly real, which is exactly why a different actor couldn't kill it, and exactly why Hollywood, with all its money, has never once been able to fake it. We're nearly there. One question still stands, the biggest one. We know what the show had. We still haven't watched television lose it. When television stopped trusting you. I won't lecture you about modern TV. I'll show you and let you decide. 3 things back to back. A bewitched breakfast, 2 people, 1 kitchen, a whole scene of just talking. Then a bar on a show like Cheers, faster, sharper, but still a room full of people who know each other. Then a modern sitcom cold open. Cut, cut, cut. A joke every 2 seconds. Music telling you exactly how to feel. You don't need me. You can feel the drift. Conversation became rapid fire. Silence, which used to be allowed, became something to kill. Warmth curdled into sarcasm. The neighbor who knocked became the lonely narrator of their own disappointment. Now the smallest clue, and remember Gladys Kravitz, the woman who kept seeing the truth and getting dismissed?
If you had one shred of decency, you'd go back where you came from and never darken my mind again.
Well, what do you think we've been trying to do?
I'd love to go, ma'am.
Here's a production fact almost nobody knows. The laughter on Bewitched was not a live audience. Because of the effects work, episodes were shot on closed sets, no crowd. The laugh track was added later in a room, which means even back then, television had already begun the great shift, telling you when to laugh instead of trusting you to. And yet, watch the show with the sound down, and you'll catch what survived anyway. The long takes, the camera that settles and stays, the silences it isn't afraid of, the faces it lets you read with no words at all. That patience was a belief wearing the costume of a filming style. Every held shot made one promise: we trust you to watch.
Say something.
Oh, Mother.
The old show trusted you to notice. The new one instructs you what to feel. Gladys saw the truth and nobody believed her, and somewhere along the way television decided it couldn't risk an audience that might not notice on its own. So here's everything, finally on one table. The magic that was a warning, the husband defending earned things, the witch reciting Friedan, the restraint, the twitch that was really a nervous habit, the marriage that was really the show, the silence television stopped trusting. Put them together and you finally get the word we've been circling for 20 minutes. What television lost forever. The question you clicked on: what did Bewitched have that television lost forever? It was never the magic, never the effects, never even the comedy. It was the unglamorous things we forgot to count. Patience, kindness, respect, for ordinary life, and for you, the person watching it. A real belief that everyday people in an everyday house on an ordinary morning were worth your full attention. And a quiet confidence that didn't need to shout to keep you. Now every clue clicks. The magic backfired because the show distrusted shortcuts. And Dora wasn't the villain, she was the temptation to take one, hissing Betty Friedan's words to pull her daughter out of an ordinary life. Darrin wasn't the killjoy, he was the one insisting happiness be earned. The actor could be replaced because the real star was the feeling in that house, even as that man quit from a hospital bed to save everyone else's job. Samantha's power was restraint. The most famous magic in television was really a woman's nervous habit, caught by the man who loved her. The marriage behind the camera was real, which is why the one in front of it couldn't be faked, and why they ended together. And the breakfast table at 1164 Morning Glory Circle, where nothing ever happened, was the entire point. Every piece was whispering the same sentence in a different costume. The realest, most valuable life is the ordinary one you build by hand. And for 8 years, a show made that feel like magic. That's what Hollywood can't reverse engineer. You can rebuild The Witch, you can rebuild The Twitch, you can hire the biggest stars alive and watch the reviews call it a disaster. You cannot fake patience. You cannot fake trust. You cannot fake a show that truly believes an ordinary life is enough. That belief has to be real before the camera turns on. And remember the doubt I asked you to carry? That maybe there was nothing hidden here? That we were reading poetry into a soap ad? You've watched the evidence. You decide. I think the people who made it built something true without ever needing to call it deep. 2 of our 3 questions answered. Why it survived, why no one can copy it. There's a third, and it was never about the show at all. Reflection into quiet hope, about the viewer, not the show. This is the landing. Protect it. The last secret is about you. When you remember Bewitched, you think you're remembering Samantha, the twitch, the sparkle. You're not. You're remembering a Sunday evening. The particular light in a room that doesn't exist anymore. A parent in a chair. A whole family pointed at one small screen at the same time. A neighborhood you knew the shape of. You're remembering a version of an evening when 30 quiet minutes felt like enough. You were never really missing the magic. You were missing the feeling, Ordinary evenings, a familiar street, the people who watched it beside you, a kind of television that believed those quiet moments were worth celebrating. That's why this show can't be rebuilt. It isn't competing with other shows. It's tangled up with your own memory, with the world you first saw it in. Nobody can reboot that. So maybe we never really kept Bewitched at all. Maybe we kept the proof that an ordinary life was once considered worth paying attention to. And we hold on to it because somewhere along the way, we started to wonder if anyone believes that anymore. What's the show that for you understood ordinary life better than anything on television today? Tell me below. I read every single one.